Hi, I'm Craig Damlow from Soapbox Rocket, and I'm an innovation coach here to continue my Founders Live influencer video series on understanding your customer. And today I want to talk about parallel innovations. And what you'll see with parallel innovations, I want to talk about how to identify parallel innovations, understand what a parallel innovation is, and in that, using your customer feedback to expand your products through the parallel innovations. And then finally, I want to talk about how parallel innovations are going to help startups and startup exits, in particular because we're here for Founders Live and we're talking to founders and we're talking about startups and to startups. I want to tie that back in. And if you've been watching my series, which I think pretty close to doing it for a year now, this is part of the culmination of doing that. You'll see I'm going to tie in a couple of the previous videos into this one, into talking about, okay, why is understanding your customer important? And not just why, but how understanding your customer is going to improve your company, improve your value, and ultimately improve your bottom line. So that's what we got in front of us. So let's get into it. And I'm just going to go straight. The last video we did, which was actually a while ago, it was January, was on customer journeys. And this is about getting the feedback and understanding your customer in a way to find parallel innovations. And so a parallel innovation, which I guess I should have defined right off the bat, right? A parallel innovation is an expansion of your product or an improvement of your offerings parallel to your core business. A lot of times, historically, I'm trying to think of an example here. Historically, we're here in Seattle, and so let's talk about a historical co-development that was eventually broken up due to monopoly issues. But the Boeing company was originally the aircraft manufacturer, the engine manufacturer, and the airline. So Bill Boeing had started that company, and he did all three. Now, you can think about, eventually it was broken up. The Boeing company made aircraft. United Airlines became the airline. Bill Boeing went with United and ran United. And Pratt & Whitney became the engine company. So now it was multiple companies to stop that monopoly. But you could think about it developing in the opposite way. Is Bill Boeing was developing aeroplanes. And he needed the engines and he needed the customers for the airplane, so he developed those two industries. But if those were already there, those would have been parallel ways for him to innovate. He could have said, okay, look, I've got some great airplanes and some decent engines, but I want to expand my value to the customer, or at least maybe expand my bottom line. I'm going to start developing and building my own engines. Same thing on the airline. He could have said, hey, I'm selling all of my planes to airlines, so I'm going to create a new airline, a better airline. Because I build the airplanes, that's parallel to my what my customer's journey is. And remember, the customer journey it's mapping out what your customers are doing. So, and looking for the ways to add value to them in your initial offering. The same thing is going to be used when you go to parallel innovations. Follow the journey. And so if we look at this slide I used before, they've got the search there in the middle. They start, they search, they make a judgment, and they leave. This was inside for an e-commerce or a store. And e-commerce, in a sense, in one sense of it, was a parallel innovation to the retail market. People are buying products, they're buying services in stores. If I develop the technology or the ability to sell it to them online. I'm going to add value to them so now they don't have to come into the store. I'll just ship it directly to them. So that would be a parallel innovation based on the customer journey. Another tool to look at is the August of 2017 video we did and one of the topics in there was the 5 whys. And this is, you ask why, 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 to get to a root problem. And the goal here of this one was, let's solve a customer's root problem to add the most amount of value to them. So we went down this one. My car won't start. Okay, why? The battery's dead. Okay, I'll sell you a new battery. That's fine, but next time I use the car won't start, the battery's dead. Okay, why is the battery dead? Well, the alternator isn't working. So it's not charging the battery when I drive. Again, I could sell a new alternator. Perfect. We've solved one problem. But we keep going down. Why isn't the alternator working? The alternator belt is broken. Well, why is the belt broken? The belt was beyond its useful life and failed. Why was the belt beyond its useful life and failed? Why? Because the vehicle was not properly maintained per the recommended schedule. And here's another real-world example we can look at of parallel innovations being put in place. And that's the full-service car experience. You know, now some cars, when you buy them, come with everything included, with the exception of expendables such as gasoline, tires, and tires. But your oil changes are included, your belts are included, your brakes are included, sometimes it depends. So the car companies had developed the cars. The full service component of that car was a parallel innovation. They were saying, people are unhappy with their cars because they're breaking down. Why are they breaking down? Because maybe it was because of a quality issue. Fine, you solve that quality issue, but you eventually get to a point and you realize, hey, a lot of us are busy. We're just not going to get our oil changed. We're not going to get our washer fluid filled. And so when I can't clean my window or my engine breaks down because I didn't change the oil, I don't blame myself, even though I should. I tend not to. I tend to blame the car. Oh, I hated that car. It was constantly breaking down on me, even though I was doing nothing to support it. So they created this parallel innovation of supporting cars further through their life. So again, that's about adding value. And the parallel innovation is about adding value to win customers more so than a quality improvement innovation or just a tweak. It's more about, hey, how can I actually add value to my customer in their journey, in their use of my product to win more customers, right? If I go to the store and I see 3 products that are roughly the same, but one of them also includes installation if it's something I need to install, and the other 2 I have to either do it myself or pay somebody, I might go with that option because they're adding that value. So the ability for it to either be installed freely or easier, that's where those parallel innovations come from. And so I want to go to a real world example just to stop talking in generalities. And John Deere. So John Deere was started in 1836. Their first real product that they were building was plows. We now today think of them as a tractor company, probably more than anything. We think of them as a tractor company. But the tractor was a parallel innovation to the plow because as engines became cheaper and just in essence automobiles became cheaper, the ability to pull that plow, which was traditionally done by horses or oxen, was able to be replaced by tractors. Now, I'll come back to this, but John Deere bought their first tractor. It was not an in-house innovation. It was a innovation done by somebody else that they purchased and then started developing their own tractors. And then to build off of that, you'll see here 3 parallel innovations that they are still cultivating today is larger machines, non-tractor vehicles. So this picture here is a thrasher, I think, or a harvester. Anyways, they make thrashers and they make harvesters. These are other vehicles. So other tools that farmers use that they don't use with the tractor. And so they develop that line. The next one here is something, it's an add-on to a tractor, so something they're pulling, like the plows. Now it's not a single plow, it's a big set of plows. This one here looks like a crop sprayer, so they can spray herbicide or whatever they need to on plants. They make planters, they make front-end loaders that go onto the tractor to pick stuff up. So it's a whole category of products around their core business of the tractor. What can we add? What else is the farmer doing? And finally then, where can we use our name to its fullest value? And that goes to the home lawn care. Farmers are using them out in the field. John Deere, nothing runs like a deer, right? So, hey, I'm going to get one of these at home, a smaller version. Obviously, I don't need the big tractor, but I want something that's going to give me the same support and same trust, or I'm going to give it the trust, something that I can trust. And then same thing for people at home that aren't farmers. Hey, they buy into the marketing gimmicks. It works. It's a value, so I'm going to add it on. Now, another thing, very disconnected in first glance, is John Deere makes GPS location devices. It's called Starfire. Based on that, then they've got a software called FarmSight. It's a sensor software package. And you can see here, with the Starfire, they can see exactly where their crops are planted. And with the additional sensors, they can actually see how good the crop yield was. And they can see, well, I used my John Deere plow, so I know what the lines were like. I used my John Deere seeder, so I know how many seeds went in which place. And I used my John Deere sprayer, so I know how much herbicide each section got. And so now we can start using big data. Farmers can start using big data to improve their farming. Something you wouldn't think about with John Deere, GPS location devices and software, but it's something that they've developed in parallel to add customers and get more customers because it's built into the John Deere tractors. So now I don't have to buy multiple packages. I can buy this one thing. So let's go to the founders. Let's go to where you guys are at. Startups, early stage companies. There's basically 4 exits you're going to look at: acquisition, IPO, an M&A, merger and acquisition, or milking the cow, to go back to the farm, long-term growth. In all of these, parallel innovations are going to be important to you. If you're going to be an acquisition, this is the same thing as John Deere. John Deere acquired a tractor company. They didn't develop them themselves. Somebody else developed the tractor. So if you're looking for your exit to be an acquisition, you want to look at which companies are parallel to you, and so that you can target them and show how you're going to fit together, how you're going to add value to their customer's journey. So that's going to help your acquisition. If you're an IPO, initial public offering, you're going to go to the stock market, raise more money, exit that way. One product line isn't going to be enough. You're going to have to develop parallel product lines or parallel innovations to show the market that you can add value to your customers. Mergers and acquisitions is similar to a straight acquisition. We tend to think of an M&A deal as a more equal companies combining, so more on the merger side. So again, who's parallel to you? Who's using your service and somebody else's service that if you put those two together, both of you would see a benefit, and your customer. And then of course the long-term growth is you working at the company for 10, 20, 30, 100 years, or at least the company being around 100 years or more. John Deere has been around since 1836. They've continued to innovate, and a lot of those innovations were improvements on their product, but then there's also the parallel innovations like the farm site and the Starfire to improve how they farm. So let me take you through an example that I think touches on acquisition, and it touches on parallel innovations, and it's from the startup world, from the software world, and that's Instagram. So here's a timeline for Instagram. Started in 2009. They finally launched the product in 2010. 2011, this is a parallel innovation. They added hashtags, they added filters, they added borders, they added rotations. In essence, things that people wanted to do to their photos, they built into the software. So it was parallel. There was already people adding hashtags, Twitter. There was already companies building filters for your photos on your phone. So you take a photo, go to the other app, add the filter, go back to Instagram. Same thing with the border and rotation. 2012, they added Android, so a parallel innovation, and they're adding another stream of customers, increasing their total addressable market. 2012, also they were acquired by Facebook, and this is giant amounts of money. They were a unicorn, and for Facebook, it was a parallel acquisition. Facebook was about sharing your life with your friends and family. Instagram was doing it in a arguably faster, more seamless way. They were acquired by Facebook. Facebook essentially left them alone. Facebook added the same year the ability to sell users' photos. So now they're offering services to somebody else. Again, nobody was on Instagram to sell photos, and they definitely weren't on there to get their photos sold by somebody else for somebody else. But it was something Facebook and Instagram developed to do it. Same 2013, Parallel is now advertising. They added videos, and they answered sponsored posts. So videos was parallel to photos. It's similar. Hey, I got a phone that can do videos. The bandwidth is there. I'm going to share it. Same thing on your sponsored posts again. Then 2014, Parallel editing. Don't have to go to another app. 2015, easy ability to switch between accounts. And this was something, you follow the customer's journey. And I mean, I can speak personally. I have a personal Instagram account, and Soapbox Rocket has an Instagram account. So I want to use their tools, and I want to be able to easily do it, not have to log out, log in, log out, log in. So they looked and they developed that tool. 2016, they added ability for advertisers to get better analytics, demographics, see their reach. And then in 2017, they added multiple photo posts, which is, again, something new for them. So that's it. This one looks like it's going to be a little bit longer. Sorry about that. I'll answer questions for longer. You can go to founderslive.com. This one is going to come out on Monday, May 7th. I'll do a live AMA-style Q&A there. Otherwise, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter at Soapbox Rocket, on Instagram at Soapbox Rocket. But I'm not sure how we ask questions on there. Maybe that's something else they need to develop. I hope you enjoy it. Again, you're looking for next to where you're at, either A, where you can add value to increase your customer reach, or B, where your product adds value for another company so that they can either acquire you, merge with you, or even become a partner with you. So thank you, and I hope to see you on founderslive.com.